who brings the fire each and every week, Mr. Greg Dickerson. How you doing, sir?
Doing great, Michael. Good to see you.
Hey, one of the things I want to do that I'm really starting to appreciate more actually is I help more people, right? We have thousands of members in my course, over 1,000 members in the Facebook group, is just how much of it is I need to understand the person's mindset I'm trying to coach. And, some people call it rich versus poor mindset. I want to tweak that a little bit because at least what I am seeing, at least what I feel like I have is constrained versus growth, or maybe employee versus entrepreneur. And I go back to that greatest example I have with you over a year ago when we were talking about Rich Dad, Poor Dad, right? You want to be Rich Dad, and I'm all excited to be Robert. And mindset is a key. And we often bring our history, our experience to an environment, and it's different. We need to understand that. So when you think mindset, rich versus poor, constrained versus growth, employee versus entrepreneur, which one do you want to go poke at a little bit?
Yeah, they're all very different. The key is all you know is what you know. Just like that revelation you had when we started talking, people read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. A lot of people get real estate out of that book. A lot of people get number one, real estate. I want to be a real estate investor. Number two, they want to be Robert Kiyosaki.
Yeah.
When I read that book, first thing right out of the bat that I got was I wanted to be Rich Dad, because what did he do? He went and built multiple businesses to generate cash flow, to invest in other assets, and he leveraged everybody around him.
Yeah.
He owned businesses. He didn't work in any of them.
Yeah.
He invested the profits from those companies into other assets that he could grow and scale without having to physically be present or add to his daily activities in order to do that. So that hit me immediately right out of the gate. So I built everything I did was built around that philosophy, and I continue to use it today. And then that's what I teach the people that I mentor around the world. That's what I teach them how to do. And when the light bulb goes off, they're like, whoa. And, I've taken people from 100 million assets under management to $1 billion, like in 8 months, just from that mindset shift of growth. Now that's not for everybody, but the biggest fundamental limiter is all you know is what you know. So you have to raise your awareness of what it is you know by surrounding yourself with the right information, the right people, and then you have to have the right vehicles. Some things aren't scalable, right? So you need to understand what it is you want to do, where you want to be, and you need to make sure that you're in the right vehicle to get you where you want to go. Vehicle meaning business model. You have to have the right business model that is scalable to the degree that you want to go. And then, the other thing is, like you said, is it growth versus, limitations or whatever.
Constrained was the word I used.
Constraint versus growth. And a lot of people think, man, you got to keep growing. You got to keep growing. If you're not growing, you're dying. That's great, but a lot of people don't want to do that. A lot of people get to different areas of their life, and they're fine, they're happy, they're comfortable. But you got to keep growing somewhere. You can't go completely stagnant. So maybe you don't want to take that risk and continue to put your chips on the table for the business. Maybe you're fine there, but you can continue to grow in other areas, mentally, spiritually, physically, things like that, or by giving back and helping others, like you and I do, in terms of, growing those types of activities and opportunities. So, it doesn't mean you have to take every business and just bust it to the max of where you want to go. Some people take it to a point, exit it, which I did with all my companies, and then you go on to the next thing. So, growth can come in a lot of different ways, but it doesn't necessarily mean you have to go 100 hours a day, 7 days a week, and you got to be the Grant Cardone where you're just constantly going. You got to understand, he was a drug addict. Yeah. So there's certain personality traits there. And so he's channeled that into what he does. And that's kind of his DNA. If he doesn't stay on the go constantly more, he's going to die, so that's kind of how he stays alive. That's how he keeps going.
Yeah. The endorphin or whatever. Yeah.
A lot of other people have balance, and they know that, once you reach a certain level, the rest of it's kind of fuel, right? Yeah. It really doesn't matter. And there's other things that you can pursue, versus that next helicopter or that next, whatever, you know what I mean?
That's funny. And it just so you know, again, I mean, that Rich Dad, Poor Dad aha moment. Actually, when I couldn't find Rich Dad, Poor Dad, so I bought it again. I bought the book. I'm reading it right now. And I'm actually reading it, with the mindset of Rich Dad. And I'm like 40% through it now. It is changing. It's amazing.
He's the guy everybody goes to, right?
Yeah.
So, Robert's like, he always had people coming to him in his office. He was the one, and that's who I wanted to be, not for whatever reason other than that means, you're leveraging all of your resources in the right way towards the end goal. And a lot of people, they're like, man, how do you keep so many things going? How do you get so much done? And I'm like, I've got great people all
Yeah,
around me, and I always have. I've
that's
always
amazing.
surrounded myself with experts, with people that are, better than me at what they do,
Mhm.
and understanding that none of us are as smart as all of us. And, all you know is what you know. And, once you understand that and you realize the more you understand and the more you realize the more you don't know. And that's
Mhm.
what's really cool about it.
Yeah, that's really cool. So let's hit these three just individually. When you hear someone say rich versus poor mindset, what does that kind of mean to you?
Usually, again, it's all in what you know, and in what you don't know, and more importantly what you think that's not true. So
Yeah,
rich
that
versus poor is generally a mindset of lack. Maybe it's, a lot of people are raised, money wasn't talked about in their house, they don't
Mhm.
understand finance, you know money's the root of all evil, rich people are bad. A lot of people grow up in that environment
Mhm.
versus understanding that, all it is a tool.
Right.
Money is a tool. And with great wealth comes great responsibility, as well as great opportunities, to give back and to serve and to be, to do more. So,
Mhm.
it's just, again, it's people. A lot of people are the product of their environment, how they grew up, the training that they received, and that understanding. And like in my house when I was a kid, I was taught at a very young age, if there was no abundance. If I wanted something, I had to go figure out a way
Go
to
get
get it.
it.
I had
Yeah.
to go earn the money and pay for it. My dad wasn't going to pay for it. And then whatever of his I used, I had to pay him a percentage of whatever I made to cover the
Yeah.
cost of using his lawnmower or his rakes or his, car,
That's
whatever it was.
that's awesome.
Yeah. So I was taught at a very young age, you want something, figure out how to make the money to go get it.
Mm.
Nobody's going to give it to you. So I learned that, but I also learned the flip side. So my dad was career military. My mom
Mhm.
was career Blue Cross Blue Shield. And he was very angry and stressed every month. He did his bills every single month. And man, you did not go near my dad when he was doing the bills,
Mm.
because he didn't have anything and he didn't know
Right.
how, even though he was teaching me, if you want something, go get it. He would not do that himself. He went to work,
Huge.
got his paycheck, came home, and he was off with his buddies playing tennis or riding motorcycles, doing whatever, instead of furthering himself,
Mm.
finding other ways, and just stressing about money and having debt. You know, so it's that lack mindset to where all I can do is this. There's nothing else I can do. And again, it's an awareness. You could always do something, especially in this day and age. It's so easy to really double your income just part time,
Yeah.
while you have a full time job and stepping in. That's what I did. I had a full time job when I, always had a business on the side until it got to the point to where the business could sustain my full time income. Then I stepped out. Then I
Mm.
outsourced everything else in my life that was taking my time, cutting my own yard, washing my own cars, doing those things. I started hiring those tasks out because every hour I spent doing that was an hour I was not out creating and growing and building my business.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's kind of how I evolved and how I stretched. And that's, at the basic levels of growth, what I teach other people. And, if you have a business already, it starts internally with the right assets of human capital that you can
Mhm.
add in the right places so that you can grow and scale and free your time up to be spent on the things that are going to really move the ball forward in your business. So
Yeah.
that's really what it boils down to.
The big thing for me, rich versus poor mindset is how money is seen or used, right? I think you're right. Rich use it as a tool. It is a tool. It is just the vehicle of, that is used. I come into this with a poor mindset where, money is to be kind of earned, i.e. wages, and then spent, frankly. That's kind of how that was money for me for, wow, 30 years of my life. It's just,
Yeah, it's a lot of people. You go get a good job, save your money and invest the rest in stocks or whatever. And, for the last, 20, 30 years, that's been a good formula. And, the entrepreneurial journey is much different because it's risk and nobody's going to do it for you. You have to do it on your own. So, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. And, and a lot of people are still in that, but there are other ways now, that are so much easier that you can do more and extra through real estate, through other things that won't take you out of your full-time job,
mhm,
but you can eventually replace that income with those things.
very, very cool.
So it's just a mindset of number one, it's awareness. Number two, it's a lack of understanding. Number three, it's fear. A lot of people are afraid,
Mhm.
to make money. They don't think they can. They don't think they deserve it. I mean, there's a lot of different reasons that go into, why some people, don't like wealth, don't think they can ever be wealthy, and that think being rich is a bad thing, especially in this day and age. I mean, there's a big attack on,
Mhm.
billionaires around the world, and there's conversation that people should only be allowed to have so much money and all that kind of stuff. And so it's interesting times.
Yeah. Very cool. I appreciate this conversation. Again, I remember that aha moment with Rich Dad Poor Dad over a year ago, and I'm reading the book and I'm trying to be Rich Dad. It is, I've actually had to reread a couple of chapters just to kind of tweak that.
Different perspective, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Thank you very much for that. So how can people find you?
Yeah, gregdickerson.com. All my info's there. Go check it out.
Thank you, buddy.